Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now these are pieces, offcuts of a wood called Jarrah. This is Jarrah Burl from the Jarrah tree, which is part of the eucalyptus family. Now, when I bought these, I got these from Yandles in the UK. And when I bought them, I had ideas to do individual pieces, maybe little resin eggs or something like that. But now I've got them here, I want to try and make a large bowl from them and piece them together some way, and we can put them into a mold and create something like that. Now it's going to take a little bit of fiddling around with different positions, but I'm sure in here somewhere is a combination where I can ensure that the inside of the bowl has all this beautiful figure in, but with none of those straight edges. I don't want any of these straight edges to appear actually inside the wood. So what I've got is this is going to be my mold, which is an old bucket from some chicken pellets, and I'm going to try and position these around to try and use as little resin as possible and as much wood as possible. So excuse me a second while I try and shuffle these around a bit and see what I can come up with. Oh, that'll do it. Right, now the largest piece is here, and if I can try and ensure that this largest piece goes into the centre, it's going to give me a nice bit of firm wood in order to make the tenon or recess or whatever we're going to use, rather than having to make it into resin. So I think that will do it. So what I'll do now is draw a line, hold these down firmly, trace that line around, you can see where the piece is going to be. We'll take this over to the bandsaw and cut them out. Okay, so we've got this piece nicely cut up. Hopefully it'll all fit. There we go. Right, I'm going to stick these into the bottom with a little bit of hot glue, and then we shall mix up some resin and pour it out. Right, I'll go and set up for that, and I shall bring you back in a second. Okay, the burls are nicely glued down with a bit of hot glue. I should have used the rice method to calculate how much resin I need before I glued them down, but it's too late now, so we're just going to have to estimate. We're going to be using the Let's Resin deep pour epoxy for this pour. I've used it many times before, it's never let me down, it's always been nice and easy to turn, so we're going to continue using it. In terms of quantity, I'm going to do 2 lots of 24 ounces. It's a 2-to-1 ratio, so we need 2 lots of 16 ounces in each one. Then we top it up to 24 ounces with part B. It's always important that you mix these thoroughly. And I've got one of these very cool little devices from Let's Resin that'll do the job for me. Okay, while this settles and some of the bubbles rise to the top, we'll take a look at colours. Now Jarrah Burl is going to be quite a nice dark red colour, so we need something hopefully to go along with that. Now the base colour I want to use for both of the colours that we're going to mix is black, and so I want this to be as dark in between as possible, because the wood in this I believe to be really quite pretty. I don't want the resin to totally overshine the wood. So black as the main base. Along with that, we're going to do two complementing colours. So we're going to use a dark blue and a gold. I think that'll be nice. So I'm going to put a reasonable amount of the black in. This is an opaque pigment from Let's Resin, and hopefully it should give us something that can't be seen through. So I'm going to mix these in first, and then we'll add the mica powder. Okay, that should do them. I may need a bit more black yet, but we'll evaluate once we've got the colours in. Right, now this one, I'm going to add the blue. Put a healthy amount in. That's nice. And on this one, we will add the gold. Similar quantity. Let's give a final mix with our little machine. Okay, now the next stage would normally be to pour, but I'd like to have some sort of separation between these two colours. So I'm going to let them sit for a little while before we pour. Now the workability time for the deep pour resin is about 80 minutes. So in 75 minutes, we shall come back and pour the resin. Okay. This has had enough time to sit. So I'm going to go for a simultaneous pour. We'll see how it turns out. Just let that sit for a second. Find its way around. Now I'm going to try and fill this up to about a good centimetre over the top of the wood, just to allow it plenty there to work its way in to all the gaps and into the wood itself. Okay, right, I'm going to let this dry and cure over the next 4 days. Then we shall come back and see how we've got on. Well, there we go. It looks good, but all did not quite go to plan. The Jarrah Burl that was in the centre and this one, the slightly larger one to the side, had started to lift in the middle. So I've obviously come free from the base. So I've had to top it up with a bit more resin. So it may influence what we're going to try and make, but we'll see. Anyway, let's get this out. That's a good sound. There we go. Okay, so a lot shinier on this side than this side, only because the container I had this in is quite scratched. So that's the main reason why that isn't looking quite so pretty. But as you can see, the colour separation has really worked quite well. So we'll get this on to the lathe and figure out how and what we can do with it. Okay, I noticed that the faceplate wasn't quite sat properly when I could put it on the lathe, so I just took it off quickly to try and tighten the screws. In tightening, I managed to tear the head off one, and then I managed to tear the head off the other three. So instead we're going to go with a drive spur and turn between centres. We can deal with the screw heads when we turn it around. Okay, it's a little off centre, but we'll soon sort that. Okay, I'm going to spend a few moments getting this sitting nice and square, and also give us a chance to try and expose the wood under here and see what we've got to work with. I can see from this bit here, I can see just underneath the surface, I've got a piece there, and I've got another piece up there. I think that's the smaller piece that didn't move. There's the third piece, and that again is down from this edge. So anyway, square out the sides, sort out the base, and then we'll see where we go from there. Mask and face shield on, and we shall start turning at 650 RPM. Okay, just quickly stop a second, just to put a glove on this hand because the chips coming off the resin just stinging the back of the knuckles a bit. Apart from making a wonderful mess, this should hopefully give us enough information on where this wood is in order to see what we're going to do with this. Right, you can see, right, that was okay, that's the main chunk there. You can see that start to come through to the centre. That's the little piece which is still at the top. That's the third piece, which is well off the base, and that'll be angled up towards the centre as well. Okay, that's quite interesting. Right, I'm going to go and sharpen up again and give this a little bit of thought. We can figure out what we're doing. Okay, all sharpened up again. Now, we've got some pieces towards the top, we've got others towards the bottom and at an angle, which means that, first of all, the top of the bowl can't be here, because it would give us these straight edges halfway up down from the lip, and that wouldn't look great. So the bowl itself has got to live in the middle of there somewhere. Now, I've got an idea what to do with this. So I'm going to start taking away this edge, see what wood I can expose on the base, and then we'll see where we go from there. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, progress is going good. Starting to expose the wood on the bottom here, which is nice. this larger piece here, you can see the angle it was at because I've got resin in the middle of it. So I'd like to expose a bit more of that. The Jarrah's looking nice. It's the first time I've turned this wood, and it's really quite hard. I'm going to have to sharpen up quite a few times, I would think, through this. I'm probably going to be moving on to a carbide as well at some point, just to make some of the cuts a bit easier. Right, I'll go and sharpen up again, and we'll continue. Okay, we've managed to clear this area now of resin, which is good. I am going to have to create a tenon on this to hold onto the bowl rather than recess, obviously now, because we're turning between centres and not on the faceplate. So we'll have to keep that in mind. So we're going to be designing a foot and then a tenon. In terms of how far this edge goes up, I think, where's my pen? Found it. Right, I think what we're going to be doing, because our issues with this offset pieces of wood aren't going to just be on the edge, they're going to go into the centre as well. So don't forget, this big piece here now is angled that way. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking this bottom curve up to around there. All right, and then when we turn it around, we're going to be making this top edge here go in and then create the bowl in the center. That's going to give us the most amount of surface area to show off this gorgeous wood. And when we put a small bowl in the center, we're going to cut into this large piece here again. So that's going to give us a nice piece of wood through the middle of the piece. So I think that is a good plan of attack. Having this much height on this side will give me a chance to make a nice foot and a good sized tenon. So, all right, that's the plan of attack. We'll continue on. Hopefully no more issues. We should be okay. By the way, we are now up to about 950 RPM turning speed. Okay, so that's the foot nicely sorted out. The tenon is made, and that should be absolutely fine. We've got no resin blocks sticking on here. There's an awful lot of holes in this Jarrah, but that's fine. We're just going to sand it and leave it natural, as it were. I'm not going to start trying to fill them or anything like that. And I've still got a little bit of resin on that edge, so I'm just going to take this up a little bit further, do some cleaning cuts, and then I'll start sanding this. I'll let you watch a bit of the sanding, and I shall bring you back when we're done. Okay, before I start sanding, I just quickly want to mention that a few people ask me, or tell me that I shouldn't wear this for sanding, and of course I don't. I mean, this is a good mask, it's PPR3 rated, and it's fine for turning. It's fine for turning normal woods. You don't use it for dangerous types of woods. For sanding, I use a JSP P3 RD filter, which will filter down to 99.95% particles. So we are keeping ourselves safe at all times. Okay, I used regular sandpaper for about 400 grit and then went up to 800 using lemon oil and some wet and dry paper. And it's given an absolutely beautiful fine surface on this. I'm quite sure whether to put an ultra fine abrasive paste on as well, which I think I might. Yes, I think I will. You don't need to use lemon oil, and as long as it's a thin oil, you can pretty much use anything you like. Okay, I'm going to turn this around. We'll put a final finish when we've got the other side done. Okay, we're all turned around. I'm just going to quickly get rid of these screw heads. One. Two. Three. Four. Excellent. We can carry on. Okay, we're all sharpened up and we're going to start turning at about 940 RPM. We'll start off by trying to expose some wood on top here and start making this curve again on the outside. I feel like I'm turning into a human spider web. Right. Okay, this is the large piece. I'm just starting to expose it. We do need to come in or come down a reasonable way to get it all out. This second piece, we haven't even touched that yet, so this has got a lot more work in this area. That was fine. That was the little one that stayed in place. So that's not what we need to worry about. I'm going to keep on taking away this edge so we can expose hopefully more of that and nearly all of that. Okay, we're starting to do well now. This is the larger piece. We've exposed an awful lot of it. This is the smaller one. And there is a little bit more, but I think we are getting close to the edge there, which is good. And that's the smaller one there. Right, what I want to try and achieve is any wood to be exposed is all exposed by about that area there. Okay, because that's going to be our hollowed out bowl area, I think. Might just be a tad wider, but it's going to be around there. So let's, is that, can't figure out if that's the edge of the wood or if that's still under resin. Let's go another bit further and just see if we can figure that bit out properly. I think we can safely assume now that that is the edge of the burl. I may still be wrong, but we are going to be taking it down a little bit further as we refine the edge. I'm going to start hollowing out in here now and start preparing for where our lip is going to be. I think it's still going to be around where that white line is. Okay, we're going to make a few decisions now. We've got a really nasty hole here in the Jarrah, which I could fill, and I may have to, but I'm going to take this down a little bit further because maybe I also want to try and get rid of this resin that's cutting into that edge. I prefer it to come around here somewhere and in. This is natural. Got a few bits of Jarrah up in that area as well, which is nice. So all in all, I'm pretty happy. Still got some cleaning up to do on here, so I'm going to keep on going. A few more passes on the inside, a couple more on the outside, and then we'll see where we are. Hole's pretty much sorted itself out, which is good. The Jarrah's nicely going over the edge, so I can live with that. I'll put a little lip on here, as I was just cleaning up the side to see how it look. And I don't mind it. Actually, no, I don't like it. Okay, that's going. Right, get rid of that lip, do a bit more tidying up, and then I think we can sand. Hang on, do I like that lip? I'm going to leave that lip, just as a bit of interest. Okay. Right, I'm going to set up for sanding. I'll let you watch a bit of it. I shall bring you back when it's done. And there we go. It's really starting to look nice. I do love sanding with lemon oil. It makes the workshop smell absolutely amazing. Right, I'm just going to give this a quick clean over with isopropyl, and then we're going to go on with an ultrafine abrasive paste. Now, a lot of this abrasive paste will get stuck in these holes as you see it happening, but I'm going to blow out the holes afterwards and then wipe it down and blow it out and wipe it down until they're all gone. Okay, that's all dry. All the pores and gaps are all nicely clear, so it's time for a final finish. We're going to use a shine juice, and this is just a shellac mixed in with linseed oil. We can apply it liberally to the surface and then spin the piece to buff it in. Don't forget we've still got to do the back as well. We'll probably end up doing a couple of coats of this, I think. Okay, I'm going to cut this back with an abrasive pad, put a second coat on, turn it round, take off the tenon, and then I shall bring you back and we shall take a look at what we've done. Well, there we go. A Jarrah Burl and resin bowl. Enjoyed making this one. It was a bit of a challenge. The Jarrah really was quite hard, and I kind of messed up at the start by not ensuring that the pieces were firmly glued to the bottom of my mould. It's a mistake I've made before and I've done it again, so yeah, I must learn better. But I don't think there's any denying that it's turned out quite nicely. You can still see the gold in the resin. I have no idea. Oh, there it is. There's some of the blue we had. Apart from that, I can't see. Oh, there's a bit more there. I'd love to have seen more of the blue we used, so I thought that would have been quite nice. If you fancy trying this resin, there's links in the description below. They are a sponsor of the channel, so if you could support them, then you'd be supporting me as well. I would very much appreciate it. This, by the way, is my brother's first book. I know this is nepotism in its greatest form, but I'm very, very proud of him. He's my older brother. This is his first novel, The Prisoner of Cestus. It's set in the future, science fiction novel. He did the cover illustration as well himself, so he's an immensely clever guy. Right, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. It's available on Amazon, it's available for Kindle, and it's also available in paperback as well. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe and all the usual things. And if you could share it as well, then that would be absolutely incredible. Don't forget, if you do leave a comment, then you are going to be entered into the giveaway when it next happens. But any comment will act as one ticket into the giveaway. But apart from that, thank you very much indeed for watching. We shall see you next time. Thank you.